Good morning. What's going on? It is Kyle Anderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Can I get a roll tide inside the comment box? I appreciate you guys being here. Today is Tuesday. It is August 12th. We're getting closer and closer to the kickoff. We have our quarterback officially named in Ty Simpson. Thumbs up for Ty Simpson. We got our quarterback. Today's going to be a lot about the quarterback position. We'll talk some college football to open it up. And of course, we'll take your feedback inside the comment box. Please let me know where you're watching from so I can give you a shout out. It looks like our usernames aren't quite what they usually are. So, you know, another day to sit on the curveballs. It's all good. I know who you guys are. You're family to me. I hope I'm family to you. Damn, that's deep, man. Am I family to you? Shoot, you don't have to that was deep what I just said. We went deep right there. But you're family to me, all right? So I appreciate you guys being here as always on Bama Football on YouTube. I feel good. You know, I woke up today and I've been thinking, about the quarterback position just as you have. And I think for those of us that follow it with the microscope, this isn't shocking content at all. Like, we already knew who the quarterback was going to be going into the game against Florida State. But I think in terms of just kind of, where we're at right now, the Florida State game is in sight. I feel like it's the team, there's probably a new sense of kind of excitement today as they go with practice because, they're like, hey, let's get around Ty. Let's continue to get around this guy and let's continue to build on our chemistry, right? And I think that the other quarterbacks, because I had a source, he's close to the quarterbacks. He told me that the quarterbacks are super close, like super tight. So I don't think there's going to be any animosity between those guys. And I have a quote coming up from Ty. He spoke to Yay, Alabama yesterday. And I think what he had to say is spot on. I mean, this is a guy who's loyal to the program, who wants to be a teammate with the guys, and a guy who has waited his turn. And I don't think it's about entitlement just because, you're here, you're the quarterback. I really don't. I think that the coaches, knowing year two, because if the coaches don't play the best quarterback this year, guess what? We're going to have a new coach at the end of the year. That's how dire it is with the quarterback position. So I don't think the quarterback coaches or the head coach would put this team in a bad position just because of an entitlement deal, right? We got some news, some national news to quickly go over. All right, we were talking about John Mateer last night on the show. For those of you who caught the nightcap. And damn. Yo, okay, so did you see this? They're calling it Venmo Gate. So if you missed the story, let me set the stage for you. You got Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer, who came here from Washington State, okay? I think Pate has him winning the Heisman. I think this dude is an absolute dog as well. I didn't even know that until last night. Someone told me about Pate having him as the Heisman because this guy is a dog. Wherever he went, he would have been the starter. I know this might ruffle some feathers, but even if he came here, I think he'd be the guy. He's just got it, okay? So him going to Oklahoma, it's exciting. He's a baller. But last night, I guess yesterday, people found out, I have Venmo right here. And in fact, this is a good segue. If you want to get into the Venmo jersey, I don't know if you want to make that private or public. But $10 to Bama _YouTube or Cash App Bama YouTube to get in. We'll spin the pinwheel tomorrow. But on the public profile, I guess, this is what's out there. Now, can you Photoshop things? Hell yeah, you can Photoshop anything. But look, it says Ultra Sports Gambling, Sports Gambling, UCLA, USC, Sports Gambling. This goes back to 2022 when he was the quarterback at Washington State. So where we stand is Oklahoma is investigating this. Mateer has told Oklahoma that he wasn't gambling. Now look, everybody's Venmoed on here, right? Or Cash Apped. You can put a title what things are for. I personally had to sit down with my son and explain to him that everybody can see a public post on anything but on Venmo as well. So if you put something silly, people can go back and find that stuff, right? Whether that be hey, a hot dog or something that's inappropriate. So they're, the powers that be are looking into this. Hey, Raphael, I got you with Cash App just now, dog. And I don't know what's going to happen. Probably nothing. But, we'll see what happens. So that is like happening right now. That's what's trending. Also, I saw inside the comment box. Yeah, we look at all these quarterbacks that were here at Bama. And now these quarterbacks are starting elsewhere. All right. So we'll start from left to right. On the left, you have Eli Holsting, right? He was here, part of the quarterbacks. He was a backup, for like 2 years? And then he dipped out into Pittsburgh. Yo, you know what? He's a damn good quarterback, okay? We haven't seen much about the next quarterback we're about to talk about, but, man, Eli Holsting, he's really good for, where he went. I think Pittsburgh is got to be super excited about him again, right? Hey, Puggle Power, what's up, man? You say what area code you from? I live in the 251. So my original area code, like where my heart is from, is 505. That's New Mexico. But where I reside is the 205, and that is in Tuscaloosa, the 35406. So 505, where I live, is 205. So Eli Holsting, thumbs up for Eli Holsting. Yo, he's a really good quarterback, and he will definitely be in the NFL. I think he did a really good job last year for Pittsburgh, and I would imagine he's probably one of the top quarterbacks, in the league over there in the ACC. So he's the quarterback on the left. You have Julian Saint. Now, I don't know if Saint has officially been named the starter at Ohio State. I think it's kind of what's happening over here. Like, people probably close to that program know that he's going to be the starter, but I think that he's battling, I guess, at practice with another quarterback. Either way, I would probably assume that it's going to be Julian Saint that's the quarterback, okay? He was here. I saw him with Alabama. It was the wildest thing. I went out to the Rose Bowl, watched him at practice, because remember, he early enrolled, and then he dipped out after Coach Saban left. So, and look, we were really excited about him. We were really excited about Julian Saint. I don't know where he's at because I don't follow Ohio State, but shoot, if he's predicted to be the starter at Ohio State, it's got to tell you, it's panned out for him. So whatever. And you also got to look at Dylan Raiola. All right, so Dylan Lonergan on the right. Dylan Lonergan. And someone just said that in the comment box about Pritchett, Elijah Pritchett being the left tackle at Nebraska. Well, Dylan Lonergan transferred to Boston College. Isn't college football crazy? Dylan Lonergan went to Boston College to play for former Alabama offensive coordinator, who's now the head coach at Boston College, Bill O'Brien. Crazy, right? All the Alabama connections as you continue to move forward is wild. So, Dylan Lonergan named the starter. I'm not surprised. He's a very talented quarterback, super athletic dude. I don't know if baseball was on his mind over here, whatever. I mean, he couldn't, I don't think he was ever going to be the starter here. But I tell you what, there was a group of coaches. This is a true story. This will come to like on the Netflix like tell all. So the first year that Jalen Milroe started, what was that? 23, right? 23, yeah. I think a lot of the coaches wanted to start Dylan Lonergan over Jalen Milroe. And I think it was Saban who rolled with Milroe. But I think there were some coaches in that room that wanted to start Dylan Lonergan. Anyways, we move forward, and those are the three quarterbacks now, starting elsewhere. So, Todd, what's up, dog? Todd's just straight up like, he sucked. Ballard Sports Media, what's up, dog? Good to see you, man. Cool, man. I'll let you know the next time we take calls, and I'll field your calls for sure. Yeah. Maybe we'll do one tonight on the nightcap. Because it'd be interesting to get, some feedback in terms of what people are thinking about Ty Simpson. I obviously super optimistic, but we'll run through it. I saw someone say this inside the comment box that the starting, I guess it's the left tackle, Elijah Pritchett, has been named the starter at Nebraska. Okay, so look, remember Pritchett? He was the right tackle last year for Alabama. He transferred out. He's at Nebraska now. Obviously, he was going to be a starter. Look, these are facts. Things can change every year, but Pritchett beat out Wilcom Formby, who is now our projected starter. You see what I'm saying? So, like, do we have faith in Wilcom Formby? Yeah, hell yeah. Do they have faith in Elijah Pritchett? Hell yeah. Who can develop better and who can be better this year? Hopefully it's Formby. Otherwise, we're in trouble because Formby couldn't beat out Pritchett. And that's just the facts of it. And I know that might upset people, but that's the truth. All right, so yesterday, and this is on Yay, Alabama, Ty Simpson spoke to the university, which is interesting that the university like breaks the news, but that's kind of the world we live in. I think it's cool, but this is from Yay, Alabama. I'm sure that because now you have like, I don't know if like Yay, Alabama, because they're charging, and like On3 they're charging. If they're like, I don't know, probably not. I'm not in competition with anybody. That's kind of the cool thing. I'm really not. I'm just like in my own lane. I do my own thing. I'm really in competition with myself. That's the only person that I'm in competition with. Can I be better than I was yesterday, right? Can I perform better than yesterday? Can I have better graphics? Can I perform on camera better than yesterday? Can I treat people better than I did yesterday, right? Can I be closer to God than I was yesterday? Can I be a better father, right? Can I be a better friend, right? You know, the next time I'm in a romantic relationship, can I be a better person in all those areas of my life? That's my competition, right? And that's kind of like how I look at competition, is because I think if you compare, you despair. You look at other YouTube channels, there's always going to be somebody who's better. There's always going to be somebody who's taller, who's stronger. So you have to always like focus on your own lane and just be like, look, this is where I'm at. This is where God wants me to be. What are the messages that I'm getting from God? And then just kind of roll with that. You know what I'm saying? And I think it makes life easier that way. But anyways, Simpson told this yesterday to Yay, Alabama. He said, look, I've had opportunities to leave. And he has. 100%. I mean, can you imagine the team sliding into his DMs? For Ty Simpson, right? The guy who's been waiting, the guy who has a dad as a head football coach at UT Martin, schematically, like we've seen Ty Simpson, not an overwhelming amount, but like coaches that probably wanted him to go elsewhere. I'm sure he had mega deals to go other places, but he's like, look, the opportunity to leave, I didn't because I wanted to be here. I wanted to be with my guys. Not only is that hard, and that's got to be so hard for somebody who is younger like Ty, right? Because the grass is always greener somewhere else, right? But as you get older, you realize it is the craziest thing. If you just stay the course, brick by brick, it works out. I don't know why. Now, sometimes you got to make a jump for sure, but not all the time. And he's like waiting on this new era of college football, but you're sitting and waiting at the best, most competitive college football program in the nation. So I've been very excited for the opportunity I've been given. The opportunity I've been given. The opportunity I've been given, right? That's good. I think that's powerful. And I think that's what you want from your quarterback. Somebody that understands that this is an opportunity, not an entitlement. I'm gonna say that again, that it's an opportunity, not an entitlement. And with that opportunity, you're getting an opportunity to go showcase your abilities on a national stage, lead a brand as big as Alabama football, and have the weapons and the arsenal and the coaching staff behind you to put you in the best position to become one of the nation's top quarterbacks that people don't know about, because we really haven't seen a lot of him. So I really like that. Coach Kalen DeBoer followed up. This is, again, if you want to get into the raffle, $10 to get in. We have a pretty good list, but there's still plenty of room if you want to jump in. Ty Simpson jersey, Ryan Williams, Bray Hubbard, Jan Miller, whatever, $10 to get in. Bama _YouTube, Cash App, Bama YouTube. Coach Kalen DeBoer said this. He's done a great job taking care of the football. Love that. That says so much, okay? And still being a guy who will push it downfield and create explosives. Dude, Ty Simpson can make plays. Just wait. You know what? I'm predicting that there's some times that maybe a play breaks down or Ty Simpson has to do something, in the backfield, make somebody miss, that we're going to be like, oh wow, yeah. Like, it's going to be, he's a playmaker. Just wait. He's just been really consistent. So, taking care of the ball, consistent. And that's what you're looking for. He's been really good as a leader. Perfect. and just to command the offense and trust everyone has in him. You can see that continue to build. That's a powerful quote. Take care of the football, man, when you're the quarterback. Don't turn it over. Don't put the guys in a bad position. Falcons fan forever. What's up, man? See you inside the comment box. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. So I love that. You know, you talk about the kind of the bullet points I take away from this particular quote: taking care of the football, creating explosives, consistent, and being a leader. That's your quarterback. That's a 5-star. That's what 5 stars do, okay? Now, do 5 stars get here automatically and just ball out? Yeah, maybe at practice, but that doesn't mean if you're not starting as a 5-star, that doesn't diminish any of your ratings or where you're going to go. That just means, like, you're in development. And when you have a shot, you can showcase where you've been, how you've been working on the craft. The lights will turn on for you at some point, man, and you got to be ready to really rise up. And that goes for everybody in life, right? You're kind of always in development, right? And when the lights turn on, you better be ready for that one opportunity to really showcase what you've been doing when the lights aren't on you, right? Man, we got some metaphors today in the show, but that's the truth, man. What you're doing, your practice behind the scenes, it will come to light. It will. You got to be ready for that opportunity. Let me give some shout outs. Let's see who's up in the club today. All right, my boy Max Tooney, always here, man. This is dedication, hard work, plus patience. Little Nipsey. Lucas, what's up, dog? Good to see you, man. Kaylin DeBoer. Alyssa, what's up? Good to see you. Marquise Washington, man. Good to see you. Welcome on in. Dan O2 with the coming in. I appreciate you. Changed your screen name, huh? Max Tooney. Always up in here, too. Max Tooney, at the end of the year, you know, Max Tooney and Alyssa, you know, at the end of the school year, when you give out, like, the awards for, like, the kid who, like, never missed a day of school, you know what I'm saying? Those are the awards that they're going to get. They don't miss a show. It's amazing. And if they do, they'll, like, bring a parent's note in and be like, I had a dentist appointment or something like that. Steve Taylor, what's up, man? Anita, always up in here. Sean the Explorer, what's up? Amanda Jane. Randall. I saw Ballard Sports Media up in here. Ruben Poole. Ruben Poole was gone for a little bit. He took like a sabbatical. And he's back, man. He's going hard. Hard in the paint, man. He's a forward for us. Mindy Miss Careless, always here. Case, our Florida representative. All right, who else? Hacker Music. Love Hacker Music. Let's see. What does Hacker Music say? I live in several states and like them all, but I would always find a place out in the country to live. Man, you know what? I've never lived out in the country, man. Like, you know, like had a house with like a lot of elbow room so like a big dog could run out in the field. I think I'm missing out, man. I think that would be my next move. Is kind of, you know, of course I got to have, you know, fiber internet, but you know what I'm saying? Who lives in the country? Who has like elbow room? Chief 18 Wheels, I see you inside the comment box. Rocket Sound, Todd Tipton, my boy. Chris in New Jersey. All right, yeah, good crew up in here, man. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for rocking with me today. Do we have any country, like people living in the country? You know what I'm saying? Like, not like hours away from any, but I'm just talking out in the county a little bit with like some elbow room and like a big dog. I don't know if like you have a Great Pyrenees, you know what I'm saying? Because I live like in like the suburbs, right? And look, I love my neighbors and they're close and I got kids, but I'm kind of at that point to where the kids are like driving and stuff and they're kind of around. So I would like, you know, just a little bit of elbow room. See, that's what, and I think that's kind of like, see, people like that. Yeah. See, Joe Crooms is right, man. I think I'm missing out. Okay, well, next time you could find me in St. Louis rolling on dubs. Man, 3 acres, 4 acres? Man, you guys living right. 50 acres? What? Man. That's what's up. When you guys enjoy it, man. I used to live on, Sean the Explorer used to live on 15 acres. Damn, that's what's up. All right, here's some social reaction to Ty Simpson. All right, I'll go full screen so you can see this a little better. Someone said this, and there was a lot of people going back and forth about, Ty Simpson on social media. Someone said, is Keelan Russell and Austin Mack choosing to sit out? What's going on? Simpson couldn't beat out Milroe for how many years? Look, people are always going to throw in some sort of a negative wrench into the equation. I think that the coaches really were able to make their decision about Ty Simpson this year, like as soon as this year started. And I think it had a lot to do with Ryan Grubb coming in. Not to say that he wasn't going to be the starter if Grubb didn't come in. I'm just saying that like year 2 seemed like a clean notebook, right? And I think Ty Simpson, I honestly, look, you have a guy like Austin Mack, Keelan Russell, and it sounds like the quarterback competition was pretty close. But I think that like these guys really gave the quarterbacks ample opportunities to become the guy really in spring. And I think that's where it was probably decided a little bit. And then they were like, let's see if anything changes into August. And then they're like, you know what? We're confident with the guy that we have. Let's roll with Ty. But I don't think that these guys are like choosing to sit out. I think if these guys, were the guys, they'd be ready to go for it. Somebody else said this, which I thought this one made a little bit more sense. Clearly, there's always a positive and a negative. Someone, Will in Third and Long, says this. Ty Simpson, that will fit the Grubbs DeBoer system even more, vertically pushing the ball downfield. And that's something that Coach Caitlin DeBoer spoke about, right? Pushing the ball downfield without being careless, right? Making good decisions. So kind of the good and bad. You know how social media is. I went to War Chant. I talk about War Chant often. I would imagine that you can go to War Chant and you can read their message boards. Go check them out. Same thing with all the paid sites. They do a good job. They have like active forums, right? Someone said this from War Chant. I'm kind of questioning. He was like, man, the dude's entering his 4th year on campus, still yet to throw his first touchdown pass as a college quarterback. Bewildering stat for an opening game starter, to be honest. It is kind of interesting that he has been here going into his 4th year, right? And that he hasn't thrown a touchdown pass. Now I think he's ran, a couple, but he still hasn't thrown a touchdown. So yeah, it is a weird stat line to think about. This next person says 6'2", 207 pounds, no real stats, and he's unproven. Tommy Castellanos, maybe a little bit smaller, but he's definitely more experienced, 100%. It'll come down to a game plan and execution. In my opinion, Florida State has a good opportunity and chance to knock off Alabama. Okay. Going off like the quarterback experience. This is just how they're seeing it. Just always interesting to see kind of how another mind is looking at things. Simpson is very talented, smart, and a fast runner. True. Very true. Accurate passer. Very true. No interceptions in camp. Very true. That said, he's green and can get rattled if we can get pressure on him. I think that's probably true as well. And we don't know because he's never really been rattled, right? But I think that's a fair point. Like, how is Ty Simpson going to respond when he gets punched in the mouth, right? Because, everybody has a plan. What if Florida State gets to him one time? What if he throws a pick six? How are you going to respond to adversity? I don't know. We'll find out. He will have to grow up in a hurry in a hostile environment. And this is a really good post. Because I do feel that the hostile environment is going to be amplified at Florida State. I do also think of like the heat at that point in time, right? 2:30 Eastern time. The humidity is going to be, 5 million degrees. Same thing over here. I don't think it's hotter in Tallahassee than it is in Tuscaloosa. I live in Tuscaloosa, and I've been to Tallahassee. I've been in the South all over. Dude, there's no place that's like, oh, man. Actually, where the hottest place in the world that I've been? This place was the hottest place I've ever been in my entire life. I promise you. I had humidity and heat together. Okay, has anybody been? Well, okay, let me ask you a question inside the comment box. Where's the hottest place you've ever been with like humidity and just heat? I'll tell you what, the hottest place on earth that I've ever been in my whole 41 years of living, Key West. Oh my goodness. I don't know. It was crazy. It was probably Key West. And now that I think about it, God, I made some weird decisions. I went to New Orleans one time for the 4th of July. Holy hell. Everything was closed, but Key West, it was crazy because it's just one long strip of like bars and like restaurants to eat at. Oh my goodness, it was hot. Damn. Ugh. Okay, let's see. What about you guys? Okay, Joanne just said Texas. Houston. Nigeria? Byron saying South Georgia. Hottest place at Afghanistan. But does I would imagine that like Afghanistan doesn't have any humidity, right? Key Largo. See, that's what I'm saying, Jay Boogie. You're there, bro, with me. South Louisiana. All right, most of you guys who have served this great country and been kind of the Middle East. Kyle, Kay says Kyle live in Florida. Come on, man. The heat and humidity different here. South Florida. Yeah, you're probably right. Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Death Valley, Iraq. 135 in the summer. Wow, so a couple people saying Nigeria. I would imagine Nigeria has incredible humidity too, right? I don't know. Anyways, I just thought that was a good point. Plus, it's going to be, the hostile environment, I think, is going to be amplified for this opener, right? Next segment, powered by our good friends in at Sonic, America's favorite drive-in, West Memphis, Arkansas, Marion, Arkansas, where I-55 and I-40 hit. Definitely check them out. I get in trouble. I have so many fans on here, which I'm grateful for. But people they're like, all you eat is Sonic, and I'm like, no, I'm actually very clean, but I do like Sonic, and I do like every once in a while, Five Guys. But you can't go to Five Guys. You can't go to Jersey Mike's. Those places, I'm not kidding. $55, $60 if you take somebody. AJ Real say New Mexico. New Mexico is hot, but I don't think it's that hot. I put this together, all right, side by side comparison for Ty Simpson and Tommy Castellanos. And then I was kind of blown away by this side by side comparison. Okay, so games played. Ty Simpson's played in 13 games total. Tommy Castellanos has played in 33. Passing yards, 381. 4,000 yards for Tommy. But look at these next two stats are crazy. Castellanos has thrown for 33 touchdowns. Ty none, no interceptions. But he's thrown 28 interceptions? So what is he throwing? A touchdown and interception every single game? Man, that's crazy. He's off to a start like I am in my second year running this dynasty. That's a lot of interceptions, man. And what's crazy was when I played them in the video game on my first year, I think I had 2 interceptions, both with Damani Jackson. Was that foreshadowing? I don't know. Rushing yards, Castellanos also has, close to 1,500 yards. But that's a damn bad passing touchdown to interception ratio, right? I didn't know. Was that out there already? I don't think I'm breaking any news, but I saw that and I was like, ugh. Anyways, I think that's a good graphic. Screenshot it, send it to somebody to make them mad. Just kidding. Don't make people mad. All right. Trey's asked Kyle, would you ever play with viewers? Oh, against people? No, because I do stream and people watch me stream. I'm not a, aficionado on NCAA football. I kind of know how to play. I did win the championship, but my games are always down to the wire and I make mistakes. I don't know. It kind of makes it a little bit more entertaining. I don't think people will watch if I was winning every game 52-0. Here's a look at the quarterbacks right now on the roster. All right. And 2 guys that are committed at this current point in time. I say at this current point in time because you know how recruiting is. Recruiting's crazy. You have to recruit these guys every single month, every single day. A commitment means that you're committed, and then you have to, like, for example, you commit, and then on August 1st, it's like the whole timeline of commitments is crazy. The guy announces his top 12, then his top 8, then his top 6, then his top 4, then his top 2, and then we go to the commitment, and they have the thing on the table, and then they commit, then they decommit, then they recommit, and then August 1st, we celebrate them again because they got the official offer. I'm like, their official offer, what the hell's different from like them actually committing? And then we go through, and then they shut down the commitment, right? That's where we're at right now, shutting it down. And then after they shut it down, it kind of, goes quiet for a little while, and then they sign. So those guys are committed. I guess they're in the shutting it down point. But you got the starter. How do you guys feel about the quarterback room? It's pretty good, right? I mean, and I think when you look to the future, I can't tell the future, neither can you, but I think you're like, man, does one of these quarterbacks transfer out? Is it Austin? Is it Keelan? I have no idea. People thought that Ty Simpson would transfer out for many years, and he sat and he waited. So who knows? And the amount that these guys are getting paid, right? The development over here is kind of be silly if you're getting paid and you're still being developed. It only takes 1 year for you to just blow the roof off. And why do you need to shine through? I don't think starting for 3 years consecutively helps you in the NFL get drafted higher, right? If you just have one stellar year leading your program, that's enough. Right? I don't think anyone's on here is like, man, well, hopefully I can be the quarterback here for like 2 years. I think you're like, hey, I can be the quarterback for 1 solid year, maybe 2, whatever, and blow the roof off and then dip out of the NFL. And I don't know, transferring is, look, if you got people are transferring all over, but sometimes transferring, it kind of seems like a bad look now. Like jumping around. I don't know. Really good quarterback room, though. All the way through. And the 2 commitments, super solid. We talked about this yesterday. The top 25, right? The AP came out. Alabama's 8. Nobody was mad about where Alabama is, I don't think. We understand. And we went by kind of team by team yesterday. It was fun. We should talk more college football on here. That was fun. And we kind of talked about Penn State. We didn't feel that Penn State should be where they're at. I don't know. I think they got it from a talent standpoint, but we kind of pointed the finger at James Franklin. Same thing with LSU there at number 9. Hey, no filters. What's up, dog? I appreciate you, man. Thanks for being here. I hope you're having a really, you know what? This has been a long week. It's only Tuesday. Doesn't it feel like a Thursday? You kind of start getting closer to the season, and this is like the final stages where the ground gets a little sticky. We start to like kind of walk in like molasses a little bit, right? We're like, okay, it's 19 days away, 18 days away, 17 days away. You know what I'm saying? It's weird. And by the time we get like 7 days away, we're like, 7 days, 6 days, 5 days. Cause does it feel like a Thursday to you guys? Or am I tripping? Right? It feels like a long week. All right. So other than that, like I wouldn't have Notre Dame above Alabama. I would probably have those other teams ahead of Alabama, but probably not Notre Dame. You know how I feel about Notre Dame. And I'd probably go Texas, Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia, Oregon, Penn State, something like that. Not mad about it. I think it provides a good amount of reverse rat poison for Alabama. Just to spotlight the number 1 team. I was thinking about it. I was like, okay, does it make sense for Texas to be like the absolute number 1? 100%. Let's go through a couple of these bullet points, right? Preseason number 1, clearly the hype is all about Arch Manning. Let me just ask you, do you think that Arch Manning will be, I guess, who the nation wants him to be? Because I think the nation wants this guy to be like him, right? Like to be the absolute guy. I think he could be. I haven't, a couple years ago at that spring game when he went off for like 300, whatever you are. I don't know. When people are like, well, he couldn't beat out Quinn Ewers. And then people are like, well, Ty Simpson could have beat out. I don't know if you compare that stuff. I'm talking like right now, where he's at with the components that he has, being the guy. Do you think that Arch Manning is going to beat him? I think he'll be pretty good. You got Wisner back at running back, right? 1,000 yards last year. Ryan Wingo. Yo, that dude is tough, man. Really, really good. Fast. Colin Simmons coming back, 9 sacks last year. Malik Muhammad. That guy's pretty good. So they got components, right? And of course, I think we all appreciate Sark. I don't think you could say a lot of bad things about Sark. Like, this is Sark's team. I mean, that's a dream job for him going to Texas. He has everything. You look kind of to their schedule. They do play some tough games. I mean, I think opening clearly at Ohio State, holy my goodness, one of the best college football openers that we've had. On the road, I don't know what happens in that game. They go on the road October 4th, and they play Florida. Going to the Swamp, right? Columbus. Those are two of very challenging environments. They play Oklahoma. You imagine John Mateer versus Arch Manning in the Red River Shootout? And then they go to Georgia on the 15th. That's a pretty good schedule right there. Now, we don't have their whole schedule, but just those 4 games alone. You think they go 4-0 against those 4 teams? Does anybody think they go 4-0 against those 4 teams? Maybe. They're going to lose one of them for sure. Will they lose 2 of them? Maybe. Will they win all 4 of them? I don't think so. But I think that Arch will be good. I think he'll be ready to go for sure. You kind of look at some odds to the bottom left. Plus 550 to win the title. Highest odds. Plus 700 for Manning to win the Heisman. Minus 300 to make the playoffs. So pretty much a shoe-in to make the playoffs. Plus 280 to win the SEC title. And then minus 200 to win, at least 10 games. So this is what Vegas is telling you for sure. They're going to win 10 games, and they're in the playoffs. Dano's saying Texas loses at least 2 games, right? So I was thinking about this too. Then it kind of hit me. I was like, all right, out of the top 10 teams right here, maybe 9. Let's do 9. Not to make Miami fans mad, but let's just look at the 9 teams, because it's a better topic this way, because I think it's too easy if we include Miami into this conversation, right? J. Cole was like, I don't care nothing about the Tide. I got you, dog. All right. So on this graphic, 1 through 9, okay, listen up. 1 through 9, which team is most likely to have a crash out? Teams 1 through 9, which team is most likely to have a crash out? You're out there, you're like, what the hell does a crash out mean? I'm defining a crash out by a team that doesn't end up in the top 10, that loses, challenging games, that is not, that doesn't play like a top 10 team and is not in the top 10 by season's end. I didn't include Miami, so I'm just saying 1 through 9. You're here, you're an opposing fan of Alabama, you want to put Alabama in it? Put Alabama and put a reason. Let's see who you guys come. State Penn. All right. Chris from New Jersey says State Penn. All right. Max Tooney says LSU. I like this. Eric doesn't even want to type out Notre Dame. He just says number 6. Dan Caraway, what's up, dog? He says Clemson with strong confidence. Fromm, what's up, man? Oh. Yo, Fromm's taking Starbucks orders. Okay. Oh, man. All right, give me a caramel oat milk espresso. Just the grande. Iced. You got that? Is that cool? Put your Starbucks order inside the comment box too. Who's the most fancy? Starbucks is crazy, man. I go with my daughter every once in a while because it's crazy. It is unbelievable. We have this thing now in Tuscaloosa called 7 Brew. I'm telling you, 7 Brew, the line is like, I've never even been. I won't go. It's like an hour wait. I go downstairs and just have Folgers. All right, LSU, Notre Dame. Let's see. Penn State. Yeah, their schedule's too weak. That's how are they gonna have a crash out if they're not playing anybody? You don't even have to be awake, man. You see, Ruben, I'm with you, dog. Coffee, black, large. I love a brown sugar oatmeal. Yeah, Dan, that's what I was trying to say. That's what I want. Give me what Dan's getting. Okay, I think the team that's going to have a crash out is this team. And what's crazy is, and I said this yesterday. Look, J.D. Piquel, who I have a lot of respect for. He's my boy. I met him. That guy is a good human. He's just so nice. Very good. He's very talented. And I think, I'm glad that On3 has been taking care of him. Because he's done a good job, man. Dude always shows up, right? Showing up is more than half the battle. Consistency and performance, right? But I was thinking about this because he picked LSU to win the title. And I was thinking about this, man, and I was like, damn, okay, LSU winning the title. I don't agree with that, not because I cover Alabama football. I think that the coaching up top doesn't help them get to where they need to be. And I think that Garrett Nussmeier, in my honest opinion, I don't think that I think he's talented, but I don't think he's as talented as college football makes him out to be. I don't think he's able to really win big games. I think that they have really good receivers. I think that they do have defense. I mean, the transfer portal, they went crazy. They have what it takes, but I don't think that they're missing it. I just don't think they're talented enough. And then I started looking that we were bringing up schedules last night, and I was like, oh my goodness, how the hell is this team even going to get to the playoffs? Playoffs? But hear me out. I'm serious. Like I don't. This isn't a playoff prediction or anything. I'm just saying, let's look at the schedule, okay? At Clemson, they're not even favored to win that game. That's going to be a very challenging game for anybody who was going down to Death Valley, right? Florida, okay. They got that. At least that game's, in Baton Rouge, which, by the way, I loved going to Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge is tight, man. It was like, if you haven't been to Baton Rouge for like a tailgate experience, it is unbelievable. I think it's the best place that I've been. Now, I didn't go to Georgia. I haven't been to Georgia. I think I've been to, I haven't been to Gainesville either for like a game. But I'd be hard pressed to think that anybody did it better than LSU. And we do it huge here in Tuscaloosa. I mean, for the big tailgates, it's crazy. But LSU, it was like a whole different experience. Okay. You also have, you're on the road against Ole Miss, a team nobody's talking about is Ole Miss, right? Then you play South Carolina. Again, the game is at, in Louisiana. Then you play Diego Pavia. You play Texas A&M. Elko, I think they should be pretty good. You go to Bama. And then at the end of the year, you go to Oklahoma. So another way to look at this is, okay, think about the quarterbacks that they're facing. Right? Klubnik, Lagway, Austin Simmons, Sellers, Pavia. Who's A&M's quarterback? Is it Marcel Reed? Ty Simpson and John Mateer. Damn, that's a hard schedule, man. Shoot. I don't know where these, if they end up playing for the SEC title, I'll be super surprised. If they're able to win the championship, Holy cow. This probably would have been one of the teams that I would not pick out of all these teams to make the championship game. Okay, Penn State, no. Notre Dame, no. And LSU and Miami, no. I kind of think so too, Steve Taylor. I think 3 losses seems about right. I don't know. Maybe they're saying the same thing about Alabama's schedule. I don't know. But that's a challenging schedule. So, I don't know. I guess we'll have to see kind of where we're at. Was there any other observations from the top 25 that like jump out to you? Which team is most likely? Just look at this middle column to the right, like these second 2 columns. Is there any team from 11 to 25 that are kind of like your sleeper teams? Don't be afraid. Any 2 teams from the middle to the second and third column that you think might be a surprise. Pick 2 of them. I guess Oklahoma's obviously one. South Carolina. There's always some team from the Big 12 that'll come up. Maybe this year it's Texas Tech. People talking, right? Oceanic Jazz wants to see South Carolina's schedule. You want to see it? You got it, dog. Let's see. All right, let's see who the Gamecocks are playing this year. All right, South Carolina. Virginia Tech. Okay. Oh, that's a neutral site game. You got South Carolina State. Okay. Then you got Vanderbilt. Probably 3-0 at this point in time. Missouri, 4-0. Man, South Carolina's going to be 5-0 right here before they go. And then they have 2 weeks to prep for LSU. Let's say they lose that game. 5-1. Then they play Oklahoma. That's going to be, God, I can't wait to watch that game. I don't know who wins this game. Overtime game. Let's just say somehow they win. 6-1 because it's at home. Then they play Dude, they play Bama. They'll probably be 6-1 by the time they meet Alabama, and they're hosting them. Isn't this their homecoming game too? I think someone's. Oh yeah, it is. It says it right here. It's their homecoming game. That's wild. Because that is weird. Because why would you have your homecoming game right after a game that you've been at home? Weird. Then you play. So let's see. Let's say Bama beats them 6-2. Then you go over here. I don't know. Another overtime game. This is an interesting schedule. Then you got Clemson on the back. I don't know. Maybe 3 losses. Their front end schedule is manageable, right? Very manageable. I mean, you go into October healthy and probably with a lot of confidence going into this game against LSU. And we don't know where LSU is going to be at this point in time, considering if they, won or lost some of those early season matchups that they won. So, yeah, I don't know. South Carolina, this front end schedule, things go well for them. They could get some momentum, but this back end schedule is pretty tough. LSU, Oklahoma, Bama, Ole Miss, that's a murderer's row right there. I mean, Nussmeier, Mateer, Simpson, Simmons. Damn, dude. That's a tough schedule. Any other schedules you want me to throw on the board? That little meat of the schedule is tough. Yeah, I would never. Why would you? Everybody knows you don't schedule like a big dog for homecoming. I don't care who you are. You're not like, who should be the homecoming game? How about Alabama? Yeah, let's ruin everybody's night. Nah, you don't do that. Any other schedule you want to see up before we dip out? I don't know. I can't wait. We're getting closer, though. It's exciting to think about. And I think kind of the naming of the quarterback. Someone said, I saw on X, someone said, have you been here? Have you been to Dreamland Barbecue? Look, Dreamland is fine. I think it's good. I really do. I like Full Moon Barbecue, but Dreamland is more like iconic. Same thing with Archibalds. But they said, they were like, white smoke is coming from Dreamland, meaning that we've named our quarterback. Did you see this? All right. Andre wants to see. You want to see Georgia's schedule? All right. All right. What's up, Andre? How you doing, dog? All right. Georgia football schedule 2025. I could look at football schedules all day. I don't know why. I really like it. All right. Here's Georgia. They're opening up with Marshall, right? And then they got Austin P, their second game. Wow. Then they go to Tennessee. Then they got Bama. So that front schedule, then they got Kentucky and Auburn. You know, obviously Bama's the big one, but they do go on the road before Bama, and they play Tennessee, who I'd imagine Tennessee, you know, that Knoxville game, the first two games are light. It's moderate, but you got Bama on there. You're hosting Bama. The thing about Georgia's schedule is they host most of the top teams, right? Like outside of Tennessee, look at it this way. They host Bama, right? They host Ole Miss. This is a neutral site game against Florida. They host Texas, right? And then the neutral site game against Georgia Tech at the back end. So, yeah, pretty good schedule. I don't know where these guys are at. And the one thing that I asked, you know, when we talk about Georgia is how good do you think Gunnar Stockton is going to be? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, do you think he's going to be 10? Like absolutely elite? Do you think he's 7? Kind of pretty good? Do you think he's going to be 5? Kind of mid? Not talking trash, man. I haven't seen a lot of him. I think I'm probably going with like a 6, maybe 6.5. I'd be like shocked if he's like an 8. You know, that's kind of been Georgia's thing. And look, Carson Beck, I don't know what to say about Carson Beck. I mean, I do appreciate how he did battle back against Bama last year. You know, he got an injury late in the season. I don't know. Was he good? Is he good? Yeah. Is he great? No. Right? You guys talking about Gunnar Stockton. Ty says 5. Caleb says 6. Right? Max says 3. All right, we'll do one more schedule. Let's look at Ole Miss's schedule. All right, here's Ole Miss. You got Georgia State. You got Kentucky. You got Arkansas, Tulane. Tulane's not bad. Okay. I would imagine that Ole Miss is probably 4-0 with an opportunity to really make some noise hosting LSU, right? This is interesting. This is why I'm thinking, like, you know, people aren't talking about Ole Miss, but look, this could be a team that somehow, because of conference standings, kind of shuffles things up, right? Let's just say they're undefeated at this point in time. I don't know. You know how LSU and Ole Miss is. What was that score a couple years ago? I'm not saying past is the future, but I don't know. Okay. Washington State. Then it gets a little heavy. At Georgia, at Oklahoma, South Carolina. This is a tough stretch. this is a tough stretch, man. LSU, Georgia, Oklahoma. This is war, man. These are going to be some great games to watch on TV. But I don't know what does Ole Miss go during this stretch right here? What is the best case? Just take out Washington State. The SEC kind of mid-range right there. What's the best they come out? 2-2, right? A win over South Carolina, a win over Oklahoma, and lose to Georgia and LSU. Maybe some different combination. Do they go 0-4 during that stretch? I went to Ole Miss. I went to a game over there in Oxford. I wasn't that impressed. I thought their basketball arena was nice. The little square was okay. It's kind of overrated in my opinion. I ate at a place that was kind of fancy, wasn't that good. Stadium was small. Alabama beat them like 66-3 or something like that. I don't know. It wasn't like, I wasn't impressed. I was more impressed, honestly, with going to Starkville. Starkville was crazy. Country town, and it was like bananas. The tailgate went forever. There was, the cowbells were crazy. They have this gigantic screen that has to be one of the biggest screens in the world. I don't know. It was loud. It was super loud. Yeah, Starkville was lit for sure. They should. I think at least one of the times that I was there, I thought they were going to beat Alabama. That place is crazy. Definitely country, but you know we're not mad about country. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't that impressed with Oxford, but whatever. All right, fam. I appreciate you guys rocking with me today, right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Probably do a nightcap. Might take some calls. Remember, there's still time to get into the raffle. We'll spin the pinwheel tomorrow. I don't know what the next raffle will be, but if you want to get in where you fit in, jump inside the raffle. Bama_YouTube, Cash App Bama YouTube. Super chats, always appreciated. Paul, what's up, man? Appreciate you catching me before we bounce out. You can watch the rewatches as well. If you're watching on the rewatch, close your eyes. Picture me rolling. And thanks for kicking it with me today right here on Bama Football on YouTube. As news happens, you'll have, let me check the schedule real quick. I think we get Ryan Grubb today, and that'll be fun for our nightcap. So let's see. I think that we have, today is the 12th. Yeah, so they're practicing right now, and you get Coach Grubb, and then tomorrow you get Womack. So that'll help get us to the next scrimmage, which is on Saturday. All right? So thanks for kicking it. I hope you guys had a good show. Be where your feet are at. Enjoy life. Be positive. And as news happens, I got you covered right here on Bama Football on YouTube. All right. No filters wants to see. Okay. Yeah. All right. You want to see one more schedule? All right. Okay. Let's see how I can do this real quick. Who's a team that would play Oregon? Well, Washington State probably don't play them anymore, but we'll try it. Sometimes you could just hop like this. Oh, here we go. Someone wants to see Oregon's. All right, so click on Oregon's. All right, here's Oregon's schedule. Montana State, Oklahoma State, Northwestern. This schedule is easy. Okay, you go to Penn State, but you should win that game. Indiana. Oh my goodness, dude. Who's gonna beat these guys? This is it. This is the one game that you play. Right? I mean, USC, come on. You think Lincoln Riley's going to just all of a sudden win a game on the road against Dan Lanning? No. Yeah. Oregon, you're in the playoffs. Congratulations. Right? Seriously. Who beats Oregon? Yeah, Dylan, we talked about that earlier in the beginning about John Mateer. Yeah, I guess, the NCAA is looking at it. I have no idea what's going to happen. But on Venmo, they did. Damn, Oregon's schedule's crazy. It's so easy. Why don't we move into the Big Ten? Can we move into the Big Ten? Yeah, here's John Mateer stuff. This is the Venmo stuff. I don't know what's right, what's wrong. I have no idea. All right, fam. I appreciate you guys being here. I'll catch you.